Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, we are going to start our ongoing meditation session now. So be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind and relax your breathing. Do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, in these ongoing meditation sessions, we mainly try to talk about tranquility meditation and vipassana meditation. So, the very purpose of this whole practice, giving some information yourself to purify your mind. So purification of mind is the main purpose of this whole practice. And on the way, you may come to certain experience in different ways, but you have to remember the bottom line is purifying our mind. So why we need meditation to purify our mind? Because in this sansaric journey, eons by eons, we came through developing certain patterns, view, opinions, experience, and we now already become like this because of our habits. So invisibly underneath in your skin, that everything happened according to the patterns and following habits. And in your head, that you are already live governed by that organized world views. We are living in this world that with the views governed by world, that the organized world views. And we will mostly try to maintain that views. That's why we always compare, and that's why we depend on opinions. That's why we look for credits. That's why we always asking for subscribes or follow, or that's why we always ask to share and like. Why? Because we become a part of the worldview. And when you become a part of the worldview, underneath what happens, you disconnect from the reality. So what is the reality? Reality means what is happening right now, right here within yourself. So worldview is what? Worldview is, so whatever happened in the past, beyond you, and you take as opinions or maybe as knowledge or as wisdom, and then you try to apply it to inside you. See that then two different way of journey. So the world view will help us to have a very conventional, comfortable life. Why? Because then everybody follow it, everybody appreciate it, and everybody like it. So then you don't feel kind of like a disconnection in the outside world. But the thing is this, sometimes in your life, there are certain situations come for you. It cannot handle by world views. It cannot handle by what other people believe or like or want. You have to handle it just by yourself. That is where you need the true nature. That is where you need the reality. That is where you need to recognize the truth. Because in that very moment, if you don't have that wisdom, you collapse. You collapse. So then how you can develop a life without collapsing? And another way we call it as a suffering also. So can you have a life without suffering? Of course. That how you can have a life without suffering? So in the very first level, you have to look for that. Why? Because we are in a different path. And when you look for that the very moment the inside you help you to have a quantum leap. So the quantum leap is a kind of like the moment that the shift happened in you. So like you're driving and you know you have to take a left turn, and you keep driving, you almost ready to take a left turn, and right away, without any kind of influence from outside, inside you, you take a decision to take a right turn. That's a quantum leap. You ready to eat and everything prepare for you on the table and no one disturb, and that everything is ready for you. And then you're ready to eat, but in deeply inside, you take a decision not to go with that environment. That's a quantum leap. So sometimes in your life, you need that to break down this pattern, because that we are in a huge current, keep going and we maintaining that current. But if you don't break that current, you don't see beyond that there is something. So that's why the meditation is a kind of like a quantum leap that you take inside you. Why? In ordinary life, that you know, from morning to now, whatever, see how many things you have done. But now you come to a point, completely settle down yourself with the posture, and your bodily, verbally, mental actions start to work in a different way. So in that very moment, that what is happening, that deeply, suddenly that frustration can happen. Impatience can happen. Why? Because you disconnect from the ordinary current. But still, it's okay. Why? Because you took a conscious decision. So when you take a conscious decision, what happening? it allows you to harmonize challenge and skills. But in a conventional life, you cannot do that. When you have a challenge, you lose your skills. So when you practice meditation, you develop a method to bring the challenge and the skill together. And you bring the awareness and the actions together. But in the conventional world, it makes us separate, mostly with the actions, the awareness disappear. But in meditation, we develop a method, action and awareness come together, and challenge and the skills come together. And another way, deeply underneath, your goals and result come together. But in conventional life, when you have a goal, and itself the goal that separate you from the result, and that's where the frustration happens, impatience happens. So in deeply, when you develop this harness inside you, within your own current, and then what happened, because that inner resistance that happening always with the self-centered mind and creating the desires, that when you go with that, it always the disconnection happens. You don't see it, but frustration is the interpretation of that inner resistance. Your frustration, your doubt, your impatience is the interpretation of your inner resistance. And you don't see it. Because when you are in doubt, when you are frustration, when you are impatient, you cannot analyze. So then, once the mind settles down with the present moment, and you develop a method to deeply, to practice yourself introspection, and yourself you analyze, recognize, and you develop with your own experience without getting disturbed out of it. Your sharpness, your clarity become more and more and more stronger. So then in deeply underneath, in this consciousness, you're going to get the good result. So you have to remember that even the consciousness is not a kind of like a permanent thing. So the consciousness appear as a result of process. So the consciousness is the underneath that we call the self. So the self is all this process. The consciousness is the most powerful tool and the byproduct of ourself, the consciousness. But it is not a kind of like a permanent solid thing. So as example, so the outside. So just imagine this water bottle. So the plastic here, water here, and the colors here. So the lot of elements come together. And then this bottle appear like this. So that means there is no such a thing permanently we can count as a bottle. In conventional life, in ordinary way, we can say this is a water bottle. But after 100 years, if we come And we cannot see this like this. Why? Because there is not something called permanently going to exist. By the 100 years, this plastic become weaker, the color going to discolor and the water evaporate, and then maybe only the dust. And maybe that also going to go to the air. Maybe we will never find. But today we can see it. And so then that come to our eye. So now you have to recognize there are many parts come together. This bottle appear in the present moment. So in the present moment, we have to accept it as something. So then it come to our eye, and then this eye, that as you know, there is a deeper underneath, there is a mechanism. Keep going. So then when it come to our eye, that all the nerve system, that everything should work properly to recognize this. So that the process, that recognition itself create the eye consciousness. So that also in the moment it appears as a result of this everything, as a result of the bottle and appearance, and as a result of this all inside the physical condition. So then the eye consciousness and start to connect to the deeper our brain. And the brain has a deeper connection with the heart. And this all have a deeper connection with the blood, because through the blood, this all the communication happens. When there is no blood, no communication. So this everything should come together. And then the eye is there, and this appear as a bottle. So the eye consciousness going to be there. That once the eye consciousness there, and it start to communicate and create the higher consciousness. So then in this very moment, when you see the bottle, it is not something already that happened inside you, or no one can tell in this very next moment it's going to happen the same way. And in case, the pressure level go high or low, maybe then suddenly it affects your eye, and maybe you cannot see this. Or maybe if the current is disconnect, the power disappear, then the light doesn't work, and maybe the internet shut down, so you cannot see anymore. See, this what you experience in this very moment didn't happen in the past, or even no one can it's going to happen in the future. What you experience with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, in this very moment, that you recognize it as that something, and that recognition come as a consciousness, that consciousness is not permanent. It is a result of the process. So that is the true nature right now, right here happening in you. So it is a moment by moment process. But the thing is, this organized world view condition us to believe things as certain way, and following the patterns, the methods. And then when we keep going on that, top of that, we build up our memory. So the memory itself, once it become our physical, it come as a habit. But underneath this all, you have to remember, even that it is a memory, it's the physical. Underneath this all, the ideas exist, ideology exists. So rather than the material things, the ideology is so strong. So when things come to your mind, it appear as a form. It appear as names. It can appear as pictures, colors, but still underneath that, there are certain ideas. That ideas, you are the one who hold that ideas. So once you hold that ideas, once you keep that ideas, once you protect that ideas, what happens? That whatever keep appearing, happening, coming towards you, it always keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. So the meditation, the tranquility state means underneath deeper level, you develop a science, you develop a method in yourself, not to keep rotate inside you this all the ideology with the names and forms, but to settle down with the very present moment. That is where you get out of this organized world view. In the present moment, the sense, recognizing the sensation, that is the place you get out of the world view. So once you come to that point, maybe you come to one minute, but in that 1 minute you will touch something you will never experience in your life. What is that? So that is, without this world views, without the ideology that you carry in your head, without the names and forms appear related to that ideology, still the life keep happening. And that happening moment by moment change. So when you're able to come to that point, and anymore you not going to be so crazy regarding the world views, then you recognize it's just ideas. It's just ideas. If you look very carefully, the most of that the 90% people never experience the real happiness. Why? Because they hold into the idea, the happiness idea. Most of the people look for that. Because of that, they lose the real happiness. The success, a lot of people look for the success. They have an idea about success. Not the real success they look for. The life the same. 90% people in this world live a life, not the real life. They just maintain ideas. But when the person come to experience the real life, he not responsible for ideas. Because idea itself come when you disconnect from reality. That is where the ideas. So then you have to question yourself. When you look for something, even for meditation, even for the tranquility state, even for the transformation, even for the change, even for the liberation, do you follow ideas or are you experiencing? I tell you a very simple, test yourself. That's why quantum leap. Will you look for the change? If it is not an idea, just change yourself. Just change something. So whatever you do. You maybe after this session, after later you will go to the bed. Today try to go from the other side to the bed. You get panic. You cannot do it. Then you will recognize, so far in this life, Even when you go to sleep, you just follow the ideas because you can recognize it when you challenge that. How we become paralyzed. You just try to do yourself. So that's why the quantum leap, you are to develop yourself a method underneath silently yourself for little things right away. Change it. You even don't keep talking to yourself. Right away, change it. Maybe you make a mess that even that we think it is a mess and it is a failure. That also sometimes an idea, not the real failure. So that's why tuning to truth is totally different way of recognition. That's why it became so much challenge today. That's why we need the practice. That's why we need lessons. That's why we need to, to, to go again and again. That's why we need to remind, because that living this life as real itself already became idea. Then that what we experience so maybe so far from the reality. We live in our head. We cannot touch our feet on the ground sometimes. We cannot that tune to this nature sometimes. We cannot just be natural sometimes, because that much we are into ideas. So then when you come to the present moment and when you observe your inhalation, exhalation, that's why it's always said, don't allow your mind to interfere with it. Just when the sensation happens, recognize it as sensation, inhalation or exhalation. You don't need any ideas for that. And that direct perception, that the clear comprehension, when you develop moment by moment, what happens? The current of that you get influenced by the ideas going to slow down. And then you start to tune to the real present moment. And that is where your real experience going to come. That is where your reality going to activate. It is there, but it's in a sleeping mode. So then, this is the moment you can give a try yourself and see, at least can you experience who you are? Can you experience this present moment of life? Can you experience that what is the meaning of living? Don't try to bring it as ideas, because once you try to bring it as ideas, you disconnect from the moment of living. So then moment by moment, if you tune to that, then you will see in a certain level, you can touch something which anymore not relevant to these ideologies or the ideas. But that is what take you to liberation. So let's get into practice a little bit. Your right palm on your left, neck head straight in one line and be comfortable with your posture. Bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes and say Supatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment, with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out, 3 times, please. Find the sensation. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. Do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this with clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light to your backside, to your left side, to your right side, downward, and upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Also may all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata cha amni sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Addaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paripunjissami Dhammi punya kammang asavakkaya vang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.